I put me free for the meeting.
Right, it's 2 o'clock, so good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Leisure and Culture Subcommittee on the 23rd of September 2021. Just to make you aware, today's meeting will be recorded. Can I also welcome any members of the public and press to today's meeting? Can I kindly ask that you observe the meeting only and not speak or participate? Can I please remind you all to switch off your phones to silent or switch your phones to silent for the duration of the meeting? In addition, can I refer you to the protocols for remote meetings which have been circulated previously and you should know by heart by now, namely your microphone should be switched to mute unless you're speaking. Should you wish to ask a question or make a comment, can you please indicate either via the chat function or by raising your electronic hand via Teams. I will assume that you've read all the paperwork before us today prior to the meeting, and please only use the chat function to indicate if you wish to speak as an alternative to the electronic hand or to raise any technical issues. I will indicate now that I've been having an error message come up, so I may need to ask the Vice Chair to stay aware just in case I drop out of the system. When asking a question, can you please indicate which page number you are referring to? The first item on the agenda is to do a roll call. I'm Councillor Sonia Reynolds, the Chair, and I am present. I now call on Chloe, the Democratic Services Officer, to take the roll call.
Thanks, Chair. I've marked you as present. If I move to Councillor Ridian Maisen.
Yes, I'm here, Charlotte.
Councillor Dennis Keogh. Councillor Keogh, I think you're on mute.
Present, Charlotte. I got it that last.
Thank you. Councillor Sandra Miller.
Present, Charlotte.
Councillor Suzanne Renkes.
Present.
Councillor Jane Jones.
Present, Charlotte.
Councillor Dave Whitelock.
Charlotte, I don't know, he's recovering from COVID.
I think he's still poorly, isn't he? I'll put him down as apologies.
Christine, his wife, has tested positive as well now, so.
No problem. Councillor Anthony Richards. Councillor Joe Hale.
Present, Charlotte.
Then if I move to Cabinet members. Councillor Alan Lockyer. No. Councillor Peter Rees.
I'm here, Charlotte.
Thank you. And then if I move to officers, Paul Walker.
Present, Charlotte.
Wayne John, apologies, I've had apologies from Wayne John. Mark Naparella.
Present.
Michelle Hall.
Present.
Neil Place. Oh.
I'm picking up that, Charlotte.
Thank you. Mike Wynne.
Present.
Michelle Lewis.
Present.
Have I missed anyone that's participating in today's meeting? No, then Chair, that's everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. I'm sorry, it's a negative of reading your meeting notes that I said Chloe and not Charlotte.
No, Chair, it's my fault. I do apologise.
All right. Chair's announcements. We've chosen to scrutinise the 2 verbal items, obviously, and we're looking forward to those updates, items 5 and items 8, and item 6, very briefly. We will not be scrutinising the opening times. That will go straight to Cabinet Board. Okay. Can I ask if there are any declarations of interest that need to be made in relation to the items we're going to scrutinise? I see none. So in that case, we move to look at the minutes of the last meeting. Can you be aware that the minutes of the last meeting were from our meeting prior to lockdown? So it's a long time ago. All the meetings, all the work of this committee has been covered off by the main committee since that time, and this is our first meeting back. So good to see everybody, and we'll get back to the business of bringing things through culture and leisure. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for the meeting notes of that meeting, please?
I move, Chair.
You got those, Chloe? Charlotte?
Yeah.
Next
No, yeah,
up.
I've got that. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Right. Okay. In that case, we'll move to the item 5, the update from Paul Walker on leisure and culture services. So, Paul, over to you.
Chair. I'm proposing to, with your indulgence, Chair, to bring you up to date on the theatres. Also, just slightly touch on the Celtic Leisure contract. Libraries, I've got an update from Wayne for you, and Mike Wynn is present, Chair, and Mike, as the manager of Margam Park, will give the members an update on Margam Country Park. So if I can start with the theatres, Chair, obviously, as with everything else, they were subject to a lockdown in 2020. They reopened up this July in 2021. So a long lockdown for the venues. But I'm pleased to say, Chair, that the staff were very proactive during this period of lockdown. We were presenting various online and outdoor events, certainly in the Pontardaur area. The staff there went online, and a number of shows, productions, films were shown online to keep our clients up to date, and also to give them some form of entertainment. The venues, both venues, were used extensively as training venues, in particular the Princess Royal Theatre. And the Princess Royal Theatre was also extensively used by the Welsh Blood Welsh Blood Service, and it was also used by the Senedd for the Police and Crime Commission elections. The staff at the venues, most of them were redeployed into track and trace, where they did stay for a number of months. And the operational manager at the Pontardaur Arts Centre actually went to Margam Park as part of the management team to fill a gap there. We've been doing a lot with our booking system, Chair. We've upgraded the booking systems at the 2 theatres. We've also been keeping our colleagues in the Gwyn Hall in the loop. So the 3 venues have moved on to a new online system, which is state of the art, and hopefully will prove a better experience for our visitors. Now it's up and running. We've also worked on the website for the arts, and we've improved that. Microsoft Teams has proven to be an excellent tool, as we all found out. Personally, when I had my first call on Teams, I asked the person, what team are you talking about? I'd never heard of Teams, and I certainly didn't know I had it on my computer, but I quickly learned, as did others. We've kept in touch, Chair. We meet weekly. I meet weekly with the venue managers, and every fortnight we have an arts team meeting to keep in touch. Some of it, to be fair, particularly during the dark days back in about May, we were talking about football and more than anything else, but at least we were talking and the team was staying together. But it has proven to be an extremely useful tool. We've upgraded our bar systems at both the venues, so we can now sell theatre tickets from behind the bar. Moving forward, we are reviewing the box office system, well, the box office operation at both facilities. People are now buying more online. We recognise the need for face-to-face contact when purchasing tickets, but we feel better time could be made of officer hours, so we're now completely reviewing that process. As far as bookings are concerned, Chair, the venues are reopened. As you will probably know, the Princess Royal was the first theatre in Wales to open up with a live audience, and Councillor Rees today very good interview on television regarding that production. The venues have now basically slid back into as they were. They're open, they're being used, people are coming back, be it slowly. The Pontedower Arts Centre, which rely very, very much on our participationary programme at that venue, all the groups are now back, whilst they are working under COVID, not restrictions, but certainly COVID risk assessments. We've been able to welcome them back. The Princess Royal, one or two of the bigger artists have bumped their shows to 2022 because they've chosen not to go out on the road this year. But we've had no cancellations of the major artists. The one cancellation we had at Princess Royal Theatre Chair was the pantomime. Unfortunately, the company who provide our pantomime provide a lot of pantomimes in the South Wales area, and they decided not to take a pantomime out on the road this year because of the move-in position with COVID. It could have affected the company. Lee Dennis, the manager, was very proactive, spoke to the manager at Pontedower, and we're fortunate enough now that the company who provide the pantomime at Pontedower will be bringing the pantomime to Port Talbot for a 1 year only. So again, we're pleased to say that the residents of Port Talbot will also have the opportunity to see pantomime during 2021. With regard to the Art Centre in Pontedower, Chair, as you're aware, we are still in the process of building a standalone cinema. We took a paper to the Cabinet in June when we had the final figures from our architects. It was obviously that the funding envelope wasn't going to be sufficient. So we've had an increase of £600,000 from the authority towards the cost of that project. It is now moving at pace. I am glad to say there are a number of meetings in the diary with the Arts Council, the architects, etc., etc. So we are now pursuing and pushing that project along, Chair. With regard to libraries, excuse me, all 8 libraries are open and with regular opening hours, and we are now offering a full range of services, including browsing, call and collect, and the internet in the venues. We've offered song and rhyme sessions and group activities in September, and obviously these are limited in numbers under our COVID risk assessments. And the mobile library and home delivery service are now operating normal, Chair. Visitor numbers are 30% of pre-COVID levels, but numbers will increase now due to the increase of events and activities. Book issues, interestingly, are 51% above pre-COVID levels. And the annual library report will be brought to this committee, Chair, in December by Wayne John, our county librarian. And he will also be bringing an update on the new library, which is going into Neath, Chair. Happy to, with regard the leisure contract, Chair, everyone is aware we are out at the moment to procurement. That process is now completed. We are due to meet early next week to do the final assessment on the bids received, and then a full report will come to the members on the 1st of November, Chair. That report will define the options that are available to members. Option 1 will be continue the contract with Celtic Leisure. Option 2 will be to move it to a new operator identified as part of procurement, or option 3 will be to return the whole service back into the local authority, Chair. I don't think it's prudent that I say any more at this stage because we are still in the procurement process. Happy to take any questions, Chair, with regard to what I've updated so far, and then perhaps Mike can pick up then on the Markham Park. Councillor Rees.
Thank you, Paul. Just to mention that as far as the library service is concerned, there was a very successful summer program for children to encourage reading on children as well. And that was very, very successful. So I just wanted to mention that, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Rees. It was, and the library did sterling work throughout the pandemic as well, as far as they could, acting online and doing stuff with click and collect, etc., when that was possible. So I think our services, and we're looking forward to a full update on all of that at the next meeting. Vice Chair, Councillor Mizzen.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, but I'd just like to say to Paul, and it's so good to see the Princess Royal and the other theatres up and running again. I mean, I don't see others so much. I'm Carvan boy, but it's nice to see the banners up on the fences there again, and we are still attracting the big names, I mean, just the two I see there now without the Wizard of Oz show. Jack D and Joel Dommett. I mean, these are huge names in the entertainment world, so it's nice to see that we can still attract these big names to the Princess Royal, and now I think it's back up and running again. And I'd just like to thank all the staff involved really for everything they've done, getting these acts and securing, getting us back up and running this soon then. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Councillor Mason.
Thank you. Councillor Miller?
Yeah, thank you. Very pleased to hear that there's going to be a pantomime on this year for, it's supposed to be for predominantly children, but obviously it does go through to the likes of me that it enjoys the children's jokes and things like that. Now, as a Unison member, albeit in health, our branch normally goes to Pontardawe to see this pantomime, because the quality of the pantomime is second to none. We used to go to Cardiff for the pantomime, but it got way too expensive because it's a free trip for children and their parents. So they've done Pontardawe for a good couple of years now, and they have been absolutely enthralled by the way that the pantomime is put on. Kids love it. So hopefully, if he's coming to Princess Royal, then we can perhaps really jump on the bandwagon to push it further to our members, so that there'll be two, because tickets always sold right out. So I'm really pleased about that this company is actually going to perform at Talbot, and maybe, you never know, that they may win the case for further years, but very pleased, Paul.
Thank you, Councillor Miller. Could I just add, Chair, it was remiss of me not to mention Councillor Rees. We have met through the pandemic monthly with our cabinet member to both update him and for him to guide us through this difficult time. So Councillor Rees' support has been huge through this, but we have made sure that we've kept him up to date the best we can during the pandemic, Chair.
Thank you for that, Paul, and I'm sure we all as a committee would pass our thanks to all staff for the sterling work, and to Councillor Rees and others who've been supporting that work going forward. I've got a couple of questions, if I may. Your final piece, as you say, you can't say more about the contract at the moment because of the current situation. However, I'm assuming the meeting, and Charlotte may answer this rather than you, Paul. I'm assuming the meeting on the 1st of November, which is down as a special education committee meeting, will be a joint cabinet and education meeting to look at that.
Yes, Chair, there's a joint down for that day. We haven't given out yet what it's looking at currently, but I can update members when I know more information.
I haven't written it yet.
You're very quiet, Charlotte.
Apologies. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, thank you.
Did you hear what I said, or do you want me to repeat it?
No, we heard you.
Oh, there we are. Apologies.
Yes. The other was.
Chair, I thought the meeting in. Sorry, I thought the chair in the meeting in November was on the WESP.
It could be, but it was the 1st of November date mentioned, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, so if I just clarify, sorry, Councillor Rees, there are a few joint committees that'll be coming up shortly. There's a few in the diary, but nothing's been confirmed as of yet in the public domain as to what those areas are. But when I get further information, I'll circulate that to members.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's going to be a busy autumn into winter, I think. It's already been busy, just straight out of August, and August didn't stop. So, can I ask Paul what the sort of take up was for the online provision put on by our staff, and whether or not there is any consideration of or ability to consider extending out, online broadcasting of events that are actually happening as well, to extend audiences at all?
I'll come back to you, Chair, if I could, on the take up, because I don't have that figure in front of me. But yeah, I think everybody has learned something and will do something different as a result of this pandemic. And technology, particularly in the council, moved on at pace. Technology has moved on in the theatres. And I will be talking to managers, and obviously there are licensing restrictions, but I think it is a market now that we can extend into, because we fell into it, if I'm honest, because of a pandemic. But I'm sure it was well received. I know it was well received. And I also know there was a tour of Pontardawe on historical sites done on bicycles. And that was a first for us. Not that I attended that, Chair. I had a puncture that day, as I'd love to have been there. But, there was a good turnout, and, it was lovely to show off Pontardawe. But again, that's something we can bring to the Neath area and the Port Talbot area, because as you are aware, we are looking at the historical heritage of the county borough at the moment, Chair. But I will ask Marianne to provide you with the figures for those who attended the virtual productions we put on, Chair.
Thank you, Paul. That would be great through Charlotte, if you would. And the other question was, I've had some concerns raised with me by residents in Pontardawe in relation to the development of the cinema. They're pleased to see money being invested in the arts centre, but as I'm sure you'll agree, it's a very different atmosphere at Pontardawe than the Gwyn Hall, and there is concern that the development of a cinema may take it to be a much more commercial, with commercial food outlets and not the same participative activity as there currently is at the centre. I wondered if you'd comment on that.
Yes, of course I can, Chair. Well, first of all, Pontardawe is an art centre, and without stating the opposite, the Gwyn Hall's a theatre. The difference with the art centre is the participatory programme. As you're aware, Chair, there are a number of groups that use the art centre, be it dance, music, drama, adult, ballet, and these are key to the success of the art centre. We are drawing in £64,000 a year revenue support grant for the art centre from the Arts Council for Wales. And when we produce our annual programme and annual submission, one area they really do drill down into is the participatory programme, Chair. We have no intentions of changing the ambience of the Arts Centre. It works. It certainly works in Pontardawe, Chair, and the idea is that the new cinema will be blended in to what we're offering in the Arts Centre now.
That's great to hear. That's what I told people, but it's really lovely to hear it reiterated in public. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Chair.
Paul. Any further questions? I don't see any, so we'll move on to, lost my place now. We'll move on to the quarterly performance data.
Apologies, Chair. Mike Wynne is going to give the update on Margaret Park, Chair.
Oh, sorry, Mike, sorry. Yep, I thought we'd done.
He thought he got away with it, and I can see him
I'm at the other end of the borough, you see, so it's not so important as Pontardawe. I didn't say that out loud. I love Margaret Park. I spend a bit of time there. Okay,
I'm going to turn my mic off.
If you'd like to carry on with that one, then.
Thank you, Chair. Well, it goes without saying, really, that the last 18 months have been pretty challenging for the park and orangery staff, having to adapt to new and sometimes rapidly changing ways of working, particularly as we're coming out of lockdown. I've got to say, though, that the staff have all responded very, very well. Some people, such as the estate workers and the gardeners, have worked on site throughout the pandemic, whilst others have worked from home some or most of the time. We've also had some excellent support from colleagues elsewhere in the council, notably Ruth Hardy in Corporate Health and Safety. It was a really great help in assisting us to put risk assessments in place, constantly changing risk assessments as we were coming out of lockdown, enabling us to open the park back up to visitors. Also, IT services very, very quickly made it possible for people to work from home, and that's been a great benefit. Our finance colleagues have been a great help in helping us to secure loss of income and other funding from Welsh Government. So this, combined with other grant funding we've been able to apply for, has meant that the park hasn't made the financial losses that we anticipated earlier in the pandemic. So when we were able to open the park to the public again, we did this on a phased basis, and by now the park is fully open once again. And in common with many visitor attractions, we put in place an online booking system for car parking so that we had control over the numbers coming to the park on a daily basis. This worked very well for us and met with very little customer resistance. We learned some useful lessons from this, which may stand us in good stead in the future when we're trying to manage events and that sort of thing. Clearly, we had to make changes to the facilities that we were able to offer visitors, and our cafe became a takeaway facility only, and that's worked fine. We also brought in various catering concessions in order to broaden the offer, and more particularly to spread people around, avoiding overcrowding in the area around the cafe and the visitor courtyard. Our shop has had to remain closed for much of the period. It is now open again, although we've relocated it due to essential works that need to be carried out on the building. We managed during lockdown to carry out a lot of other work in the park. We completed the installation of a new adventure play facility. We refurbished much of the children's village and carried out significant works to improve safety at Firs Mill Pond. Our colleagues in the Environment Directorate have been surveying the chimneys and the finials on the roof of the castle, and they've been working to repair these and make them safe, although much remains to be done on this. The old stone, dry stone boundary walls to the deer park are in a very, very poor condition. And what we've done is employed a dry stone walling specialist to carry out repairs. He started at the East Lodge end of the park and is slowly working his way around the park. And I have to say, we're really pleased with the quality of his work. The Physical Activity and Sports Service, who are based in the park, as you probably know, took the opportunity during lockdown to reopen some of the mountain bike tracks that we've got in the park. And that's been a great benefit because now they're being well used. And as people are looking for more things to do outdoors, it's bringing more people into the park. Our volunteer work had to be suspended for much of the last 18 months, but I'm pleased to report that the garden volunteers are now back, as well as the Friends of Margam Park. In conjunction with our head gardener, the Friends group were recently successful in obtaining a grant to undertake a community orchard project in the park, and that's now already underway. Our income stream has generally been consistently good in the last 18 months with regard to filming. We've got an excellent relationship with several film and TV production companies, and the park continues to be used by them on a regular basis. We're now also able to start hosting events again in the park. We dipped our toe into the water with outdoor cinema. We've also had the Great British Food Festival, which was really well received towards the end of August. This weekend, we've got the Dragon Ride, expecting in the region of 3,500 cyclists. This is an event that was postponed from earlier in the year. And I'm glad to say that from late November, we'll have the Luminate Christmas Light Trail once again. Unfortunately, it had to be postponed last year, but it's already selling really well. You're probably aware of the project we have ongoing at Twynner Heath at the east end of the park, where we're working with consultants to develop a high quality visitor attraction for families, which includes a zip wire, zip safari, splash pad, play equipment and catering facilities. Inevitably, there have been a few delays on this project due to the pandemic, but good progress is being made. We can't really commit to a date when this will be open yet, but we hope it will be sometime next year. But all this, of course, is going to be subject to planning. We've also taken the opportunity recently to strengthen the park staffing structure in order to enhance the visitor experience and drive forward our income generating opportunities. And to this end, we've appointed a visitor services manager and a countryside manager, both of which are new posts for the park. Moving on to the Orangery, as you know, the Orangery was used as a vaccination centre by the Health Board this year, and that's been a great success as well. And our staff have worked very well with the Health Board staff. Our principal task in the park has been to ensure unrestricted access for people arriving for their vaccination, while still enabling visitors to come to the park. We carried out major improvements in the Orangery immediately prior to the Health Board taking over. A new bar has been installed, the ladies' toilets have been refurbished, as has the bride's room. New furniture has been purchased, as well as new fridge freezers. And in January 22, a new carpet is going to be laid. One of the hardest tasks, I think, for our staff, Orangery staff, was having to telephone 64 couples to tell them that we couldn't host their wedding at the Orangery this year. Fair play, most people were very, very understanding. And we're taking the Orangery back in-house on the 1st of January next year. And the Orangery staff have been really busy over the last few weeks now generating business for 2022. And so far they've booked in over 70 weddings for 2022. And the first of these is due to be held on February the 8th. So all this bodes quite well for the future of the Orangery going forward. I think that's about it. Happy to take any questions anybody has on either the park or the Orangery.
Councillor Miller.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thanks for that comprehensive report, Michael. Very pleasing to hear how staff really stepped up to the plate for you and delivered what you needed them to deliver. You indicated about you've appointed a chap to look at the dry stone walling situation, and of course it's a niche occupation. It's required CADU come into play. All these people could slow down works, etc. But I'm glad to see that we've appointed somebody. Can I ask if there's any consideration given to an apprentice for that that person, because you know, it is an art form and it could be a lucrative art form for somebody trained in that, and you know, and I think an apprentice might be a way to go with this, especially seeing that there are grants, etc., for having apprentices into your organisation. And you know, I would like to see consideration given to that, if you can. Thank you.
Perhaps I wasn't very clear, Councillor Miller. The person we've appointed is a private contractor, not an employee of ours. As you say, they're it's very hard to find competent dry stone wallers. Some of our staff have been working with him in order that they can become familiar with the techniques of dry stone walling. And I also understand that the Friends group have approached him as well with a view to some of their members being trained in dry stone walling. I completely understand the point you're making, because the walls themselves have been neglected for many years, and that is because we don't have the expertise really to carry out the repairs necessary. So hopefully going forward, combination of the volunteers from the Friends who've been trained and some of our staff who've been trained will be able to keep on top of it most of the time.
Can I come back?
Yeah. You've muted, Councillor Miller.
I understand about the private contractor bit, but I think, you know, it would be really, and I know volunteers play a huge part of any big organisation and maintenance of an area such as Margaret Park, Knoll Park, all of the big areas. But it would be good to see if we could encourage this contractor to consider an apprentice, because you know, you're virtually having the person for nothing if they apply for the grants from Welsh Government. And I really think that this is a niche element that could be beneficial, and bearing in mind how many areas where we have historic monuments, etc. You know, a person going into this type of business would be well placed, I would say. So perhaps encouragement from you to the contractor to see if he can take on an apprentice.
I can certainly do that, Councillor Miller. I can certainly point him in that direction.
Thank you. Cabinet Member, Councillor Rees.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to put on record my thanks to the staff, and I hope that Mark and Michelle will take back the gratitude I certainly feel on the staff for over this period, over this long period, and the fact that the park has been open and has been successful during this period. You know, is a testament to the staff. So I just wanted to put on record my gratitude to the staff, you know, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of the whole committee, because, you know, Margaret Park has generated a good income during this period. So well done, Mike, Well done, Paul, and well done, all the staff. So Mark and Michelle, if you'll take that back, I would be grateful. Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Certainly
Councillor
agree
Rees.
with you. Agree with you, Councillor Rees, and I'm sure the committee do. And I personally am looking forward, and I'm glad you've said that Illuminate is booking well, but it also means I need to get my act together for the family trip.
Yeah.
And so thank you very much for that, Mike.
You're welcome.
Just to emphasise, Chair, that for example, the cinemas, and Paul will endorse this, that attracted something like 10,000 people over 2 days. Paul, is that correct?
It was a large crowd, Chair. I'm not too sure of the numbers, Councillor Rees, but it was thousands.
Thank you very much, Paul. Okay, and we're all finished on that item? Looks like we are. So if we move on, and thank you very much both, we look forward to a brighter 2022. And we move on to the quarterly performance data, agenda item number 6. And I understand Councillor Miller has something she wants to say on this.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Can I just, I don't want to absolutely drill down to any data. However, this week in the national news, there was a big emphasis on swimming, leisure centres, things like that, across the country, there are so many closures of swimming pools that it was nice to see Neath put Talbot back in that trend. Obviously, we've got the new centre to come online at Neath, and it will be state of the art, and hopefully it will be well used by many of our residents, seeing that where it's going to be situated, the quality of works that are going into it. And I do believe that we can honestly hold our head up high and say that by developing leisure services such as this, swimming pool, etc., that we are bucking the trend. There's not many other councils that are doing that, and it's a testament to the work against all the challenges that our staff put into developing such as this. And of course, and I will say it, as councillors that actually supported this move for many years to get it to where we are now, and we look forward to the opening when it happens. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, I take that on board completely, Councilman, and I think it hasn't gone unnoticed in the industry, the support that this authority have given to their leisure trust during this very, very difficult time, both financially and resources. And you are right, Councillor Miller. I did a FOI on swimming pools, and it was pleasing to note that we started 2010 with 3 swimming pools. In 2014 we had 4. That was completely against what the reporter who did the FOI was looking for, and we are looking forward to opening this brand new state-of-the-art facility in Neath. And I think the local authority should pat itself on the back for continuing with this provision. It is important. We've all sat around for a year, me included. We need to get physical, whether it be the outdoor or it's swimming pools or whatever. And this authority is actually allowing the residents to do that, unlike some authorities. Thank you for that comment, Councillor Miller.
I think, as you know, Paul, we'd normally give you all a grilling on the performance data, but we're all very aware of the figures are so heavily impacted by COVID requirements that
yes,
we fully understand where we are now, and we look forward to future years of growth again, like with the rest of that we've said. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, in that case, we move on to the presentation on physical activity and sports service, the PASS update, which I'm really looking forward to. Thank you. Who's dealing with that?
Thank you, Chair. That's going to be three of my officers, Mark Naparella, Michelle Hall, who are the coordinators for the Active Young People programme, and Michelle Lewis, who is our Disability Sports Development Officer, who sits in the office when we're allowed with these two guys and ensures that we're working in partnership to deliver for able body and disability. But Michelle has her own programme as well, Chair, which they're covering off in the presentation. So if you're happy, Chair, I'll hand over to the guys and let them carry on, Chair.
Please do.
Charlotte, would you like me to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Michelle.
Okay, so as Paul said, we're going to take you on a bit of a journey through our time in lockdown. So back in March 2020, like most people across the UK, we were instructed to work from home. Everyone was wondering what the following weeks was going to bring. Little did we know we'd still be trying to work that out now, 18 months later. So as AYP staff began adjusting to working from home, staff wellbeing was obviously high on our agenda. So we made sure we met up with weekly Teams meetings online, and obviously we still continue to do that now as most of us are back working at home. Most of us have young families at home, so we quickly had to switch to put our teaching roles on, as well as continuing to plan for the weeks ahead as PASS. We have a very young and a very enthusiastic team, and it's quite hard to keep them sitting down at home, not really doing a lot other than on their laptops, which is quite challenging. So as soon as the email circulated looking for volunteers, our guys quickly snapped it up. So just a few shots here of what started going on. So officers spent days packing food parcels at Tregellis Court for the vulnerable. Others were trained up ready to drive the ambulance buses in case there was a shortage. As Mike mentioned, the volunteering groups at Margaret Park were unable to attend, so our guys stepped in, helping with doing some strimming and some weeding across the park. Great days out, obviously all social distance, but it was nice to get them being active and doing things they enjoyed. Others volunteered in the local communities, shopping for the vulnerable, making weekly telephone calls. So staff kept themselves busy as well as keeping on track with work. And then all the team were seconded to the Track, Trace and Protect team. So we attended hours of training with the Public Health Wales, and we were split into teams ready to go live, ready to make those phone calls. Mark and myself were put as team leaders for 2 of the 6 teams, which meant organising rotas and training for 20 advisors, and continuously working with the new advisors who we were constantly swapping and changing across the teams. So it was a challenging few months. TTP was challenging, and it took a lot of our staff out of their comfort zones, but each and every one of them did an absolutely amazing job of what they did, and we were really proud of what they were doing.
Okay, so in addition to that, we were developing some trails, as Mike has mentioned, at Margaret Park. At Margaret Park, there was a black event trail, which we'd already begun a project to downgrade so that public can use it. So we successfully completed that, and then we had permission to create a new blue section of trail in order to link some of the existing trails. So officers would attend the park, again under strict protocols, social distancing, outdoors, and complete some work like you can see on the screen there, which was really hard manual labour, moving some materials and designing and shaping lines for cyclists to use. Go to the next slide, Michelle.
Not working.
Maybe use the arrow. Is that working? There we go. Back one.
Okay, obviously within our community and the roles we had, engagement was key for us. So we had to think of ways now to try and keep our community active at home. So we normally run our summer festivals and during half term, but obviously we couldn't. So Admiral gave us a big donation to run a disability festival, but it didn't go ahead. So we decided to buy equipment bags for the children, and the officers then delivered them at home. So that was one way of keeping the children active. The MBT guys then done fundamental skills on the doing video clips on our past Facebook pages. We set challenges just to try and keep the community spirit going. Also, for our council employees, then online workout videos, which you still can access now. A series of online workout videos was done as well. So we just had to think outside the box, really, to try and keep the people engaged, obviously with the main aim to keeping active.
So we were let back out then, which was great, under strict protocols. So it was really a bit of a minefield. Lots of people were designing camps, new sessions, but the COVID protocols and restrictions were changing weekly. One thing that was consistent was the outdoor message. So indoor sports at this time in September were frowned upon or banned. So we managed to deliver outdoors, and we decided to take a targeted approach, giving free sessions of physical activity and sport to the communities that needed it most, whilst also delivering some of our focus sports and obviously using the trails, which was fantastic to see children out at Margaret Park enjoying what we've been doing during the lockdown. Then we got sent back into lockdown, which obviously everybody did. So some of the staff returned to the Test, Trace, Protect service as they were under pressure. Staff that remained within PASS then looked to plan as part of a recovery fund and a recovery operation, looking at how we could deliver physical activity sport coming out of the lockdown. And we also decided that a small section of Blue Trail was needed in order to link an additional trail that we had in the park. So we managed to develop and create that in the lockdown too. You're on mute, Michelle.
Sorry. Lockdown continued and we still weren't able to get into our schools. So we turned ourselves to some online activities. So our primary schools are invited to attend a Strava challenge, which is a virtual walking challenge through an online app called Strava. So each week we collected the mileage off each school and prizes sent out to those schools. At the end, everybody who entered this challenge was put into a prize draw, and the winning school had £500 worth of equipment sent to them. Our guys in AYP put together a monthly newsletter where we introduced members of the team. We introduced our gold ambassadors. We researched some family fitness activities that they were able to do COVID safely. We had a place of the week, so we'd put somewhere where somebody had been for a visit or on a lovely walk that somebody'd been on, and we'd share that with our followers. And we also put an update on the COVID corner with any updates regarding sport from Sport Wales were shared with everybody then as well. Our gold YAs are obviously normally out in our schools helping us to deliver activities, so they were set challenges to do, so they were coming up with some games, some activities that everyone can do from home, and we shared them, and they were sharing them via their Twitter and Facebook. We realised that obviously there wasn't much out there for the really little ones, our 0 to 5s, so we came up with some family friendly, some videos really that would make life easier for the parents. If you were working from home and you had some youngsters at home, which we all experienced, we made some YouTube videos on fundamental skills that parents could have a look at and possibly put on the iPad. They were very safe. They were using equipment from home, and that the children could just follow the instructions on the screen as if they were in a session with the instructors and take part in the session. So trying to cater for everybody and hit all our age range from online. Schools then returned, but we were still unable to go in face to face. So during the planning sessions in lockdown 2, all our training was put online. So our Gold Ambassador national training was delivered across Wales via Teams by Youth Sport Trust. And our guys set off in their cluster teams and delivered ambassador training via Teams. So 45 schools took part in our Bronze Ambassador training with 372 pupils. This has been our biggest uptake on the bronze training for a while now. So obviously going forward is something we are still going to incorporate into our planning.
To help enhance the education and training within our department and to save really delivering 2 courses, we decided to combine the disability course with the Bronze Young Ambassadors course, but not to take the children away from lessons as well. So the young ambassadors then, they learned about the correct terminology, the Paralympics, inclusive games and how to adapt these games at school and equipment if there was any children with impairments within the class, just so then the young ambassadors roles then would really be inclusive and get a feel of disability sport and raise the awareness in the schools with the, with the pupils. At the end then, when we were allowed back in, the AYPs went in then to do a visit. But like Michelle said, we had the biggest uptake online. So maybe this is the way forward, just to deliver the course and then just to go in then and visit and see how the children are doing in the young ambassador roles.
Okay, so again, we were let back out and coming out, sport and physical activity was a lot easier to deliver with less protocols. So we've continued with a range of different projects over the summer. I'll talk quickly because I know we're running out of time. So this is our mountain bike pathway where we offer 3 to 5 year olds all the way to advanced Welsh champion racers the opportunity to be taking part in mountain biking now. If we go to the next slide. So our camp provision, holiday provision, we've delivered in the 6 weeks over the summer. The most, well, actually it was 7 weeks, but the most activities that I've ever seen delivered. And we've just sort of put a flavour of what was delivered here. So free fit and fed camps which incorporate physical activity and food over a 2-day period. You can see the locations there on the screen, and we also supported the school holiday enrichment programme in Neath Talbot. We have then our PASS camps which run fully inclusive throughout the summer in the 2nd week. Unbelievable attendance, selling out over 100 children a day at Ysgol Bay Baglan, and all of the camps that you can see on the left side there, having record attendances. And in the 3rd week we do it, and the 4th week we did outdoor adventure camps where children could experience some of the sports you can see on screen, and a lot more in addition. Proves to be our sort of most popular camp, and we were able to do 2 this year and sell out both.
And like we've said, we've been able to deliver so much over the last 18 months, but it wouldn't have been possible without any partnership working from all the partners you see here on the screen. So whether it was been from free food from Titarian for our fit and fed camps, also to providing opportunities for our young children through the adventurous camps with the outdoor providers. So that's been a great partnership working, and we've built lots of new relationships with these guys as well. So in July 2020, so just before the summer holidays, we were successful in a bid for some money for a summer of fun from the Welsh Government. So it was a bit of a quick turnaround. We managed to employ 18 additional casual staff to help us deliver over the summer. So we delivered in 113 sessions over 32 local parks and open spaces. I want to say a big thank you to all the councillors as well, because I know information was sent to you from Morgan and Hayley, and you did an amazing job in advertising our clubs for us as well. So a big thank you for that. A wider range of activities were provided from the the traditional sports all the way to the outdoor adventurous activities. We were targeting children from age 3 to 18. So we're doing a bit of work now into more the facts and figures of this. So all the activities provided were inclusive, but we also did some additional disability specific sessions. So if you can see on the pictures there's some of our coaches sat on the go-karts with some of the children, taking them around the park and giving them the experience as well. So overall it was a massive summer of fun for all the children in Neath Talbot. And finally, on our last day at Talbot, we were fortunate to have Let's Talk come and join us. So the children had the opportunity to have their say in the future of Neath Talbot, and the parents obviously as well, when they were dropping them off, had a good chat about how they would like to see what's going on in the future. So it was great to work in partnership with the Let's Talk campaign as well. Be pleased to know that's it for us. So thank you for listening, and if there are any questions, we were happy to take them. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Mark and Michelle's. Very informative, some excellent work going on, and interesting to see the better uptake on the ambassadors programme online and the changes that might bring. And of course, the summer fun was alongside things that came in from other organisations that also had that funding. So there's been a real wide range of provision across the borough from yourselves and others, and working together in order to give our young people something over the summer months. So really excellent to see. Any questions from anybody? I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, if there are none, I think we're all absolutely over the moon about what you presented, and thank you very much for the work you've done, and congratulate you, and look forward to, fitness in the future and working with you across the communities. So thank you very much, all three. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're moving them on to the forward work programme, and the item is for noting. We have a library update at our next meeting in December, and we've already heard about other possibilities in the meantime linked to some of our services. And so if there's no comments on that, please note the forward work programme. We've agreed we will have the Cabinet forward work programme, the Cabinet Board forward work programme for consideration, so that we can make sure that this committee covers off all of its particular remit of items going forward. And urgent items, there are none?
No, Chair, I have no urgent items.
Thank you. And therefore, thank you all for attending today's meeting. Thank you for some excellent updates and presentations. Been really worth participating. And I'd like to hope that everybody is positive about the future. And I'll bring this meeting to a close. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Chair.